I've been waiting all day for this. Baron, my handsome man. Hi, human. Hey, babe. You ready? All right, let's roll it.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another chat on Soul Sense. And I'm really excited today for a few reasons. One, because a new and dear friend to me in my life is joining us today, but also another local business owner in the city of Kingston who kind of has been going through their own journey a little bit over the last few months with what's been happening with the pandemic. So I want to welcome Jade, who is the owner of The Loft. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. So happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm so happy that you're here with us. So what have things, let's kind of start from the beginning and just check in. How have things been for you since the whole pandemic and the wave of everything that just kind of like shut down life as we knew it?
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. First thing I really noticed was checking in with staff and how important that was. And I've heard other people chatting about just the feeling of complete chaos and not knowing what's going on. And everybody was so frantic that at the beginning, it's almost like I wasn't even thinking about myself. It was like, how can we make sure these people are safe and they're going to be okay? And lots of group chats and checking in. And the other thing that really surprised me is people are really frantic about their hair, about the way they look, about the, you know what I mean? And at first it was like 2 weeks being closed, like this is insane. And then the longer it got, there was like everything came to a head and people were like, I can't live without my routine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess we better just chill out and settle into this. So it's been like a wild roller coaster. Yeah.
I think it's funny because most people don't think or put weight in the fact of how much, like, you know, those beauty sort of pampering sessions and things we do, both men and women, in the way that we do it, have such a tremendous impact on our mental health until we can't do it. Like, not going to a hairdresser because it's a choice is a choice, but when the choice is taken away from you, and everyone did kind of have, I think, a bit of a moment where they were in disbelief that it was something that couldn't happen. Then they embraced it for a little while. Maybe some people, you know, learned how to do it themselves. But did it bring even more clarity kind of to the importance of what it is that you do and what you guys do with your business, and how you make people feel about themselves?
Because a lot of clients were checking in and just saying, like, more than my hair, I actually miss our chats. Or I had some clients making jokes about, like, my mental health has also gone to shit. I really miss our chats. Yeah. And I grew to miss that as well. So as much as it's just hair, and I love making people look beautiful, it's like that connection. When that's taken away, it's really different, especially for somebody like me who does that all day, every day. I'm chatting and connecting with people. And I think maybe it surprised me how much other people miss that as well, you know?
Yeah, I think those little things kind of came to the surface for everyone. How busy has it been since the announcement of reopening?
Insane. So we were actually texting in our group chat saying, like, oh my gosh, how do we even manage this? We were having, you know, message after message after message, and the announcement came, it had been an hour since then. So just trying to sort out, like, I have a young child, so I was like, oh my gosh, you know, color these things, and I'm going to try to, but it took hours just to sort through, like, wait lists and clients who already had books. And, you know, people get their hair done every 6 months, they get it done once a month, and all, you know, it's like Christmas all over again. Everybody wants in, and they want in, like, immediately.
But there has, which is fantastic, and it's not a bad problem to have, because I think it's one of those businesses that, although you took a hit because everything changed and the economy was shut down and everybody took a hit, I feel as though it's one of those businesses where you're busy. And the biggest issue that you're facing now is that you are so busy and trying to get everybody in, where some of these other businesses downtown are like retail stores or different things. I had this conversation with someone on Kingston Economic Development the other day. So they would spend all of their money on what inventory was supposed to be for the spring. And now here we are in the summertime, and that inventory and the thing that is there is now out of season, and we're moving into something else. So there are, do you feel that first off, you were affected? Obviously everybody was affected, but what does it feel like to know that you're so busy now and in such a high demand?
I think that was also a major source of comfort, is there was never a time where we thought, oh my gosh, this is going to affect us for the long term. Right. Which I am so thankful for. We knew that we would be super busy, and it's also, people I find take it more seriously. Like, a lot of people book their appointments ahead, but now it's like, I got to make sure I'm in there, because there was this period of time where if you didn't have an appointment in those 3 months already pre-booked, well, now you're booking into August, September as a new person. And so it's made it even more important to book, ahead of time. So it's been good in that way. Absolutely.
And then you can also you can't do the even capacity that you used to do as well, right? So people are having to push that out even farther. But I think that there's something really reassuring about that.
Absolutely.
What is the best thing that happened to you through COVID? What many. So many. What are a few things that happened to you in or during COVID that changed things for you? Because I think everyone had a bit of those moments where we're going back into life, but we're doing it a little bit differently, or we're just even appreciating things a little bit differently. So what were some of those pieces for you?
Oh, so many things. So having that time to really slow down and be quiet was magical for me. I am the type of person that lives fairly fast. Like, I would take a trip to Iceland for a long weekend with my girlfriends last minute. And while that is all fun, it really made me realize, like, what do I need to have a comfortable day, week, month, like here in my own house, in my own space. So having more, outdoor space, having a slower life, those sorts of things I loved. And having, like, I always made sure that with my daughter, we had one day of not doing a whole lot of anything or not having scheduled plans. I want like 1 day out of 7. That's insane. I want so many more of those. So things like, and I have written myself like notes, honestly, of things I've read or I've learned in this time, but like summer holidays, I want them to feel like summer holidays, just like the major slowing down. I also took a bunch of Reiki courses and stuff. And so just the whole way I live my life and day, I really want to change those things. Little things like I have an apartment downtown, which I love. I was always in the back of my mind wanting to move into the country. 100% I will do that now. Like, solidified the important things to me in a huge way.
I love that. And the reason it's interesting, I as well, so I just moved, similar situation, kind of realized that. But it's funny how when we're in it, like when we were in the machine, even, and I call it a machine, when we were in the machine 3 and 4 months ago, things were moving so fast that you get caught up in it. And also because everything's there and it's so stimulating. But it wasn't until the whole thing had to shut down that it actually gave us the time to step back.
So I think taking that time yearly for me will be a huge thing, even seasonally. Like, I would never even book a vacation unless I was going somewhere doing something. And I mean, my friends tease me, I've always lived a little slower than everybody else or at my own pace, but now that is like extra important. And so actually having time, to like declutter your house and clean everything out, and then like clean out my mind and put myself first for a while, like it solidifies the things that are important, but we never take time to do that. Like, I think taking like a month a year, which I think sounds crazy to some people, but that's really important to me, to actually just figure out, like, birthdays are that for me. You know what I mean? Like, how have I been doing with my life? What feels good to me? And it almost felt like a deep cleaning to me, or like my mind, body, and soul, because I did have that extended time. So like I will make sure seasonally I'm like going out to a cabin in the woods to have some time by myself to figure out the important things.
To do that deep in the time audit, right? I think that's also, you got to spend more time with yourself. And I think that's also a big piece of what we avoid. We get so stimulated with our relationships, our friendships, our work, our other stuff, that we don't actually tend to land with ourselves, and we will force that hand. And not everybody's journey was as beautiful as maybe yours was.
Well, it was a roller coaster too, and that's part of it, is the riding it like I was like on a high and then plummeted and
oh shit,
as but like having the amount of time to go through all of those, because how often do we have an idea and we go with it and then we don't even stop to think about like, am I still on the right path? Am I still, you just keep going.
Or do I even want to be on this path? I think we get caught up in the concept as well of not wanting to fail at things, and sometimes wanting to pivot or change or evolve in a different way. We're worried about everybody else's perception of whether that looks like failure to us, and we tend to stay doing one thing for that reason. Or we get caught up in the things and stuff aspect. We want to stick with this one thing to live a lifestyle filled with other things that maybe we don't know what we want.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm really happy that you came to that. Did you pick up any new hobbies, or did you get reacquainted with any old passions that you loved over the 3 months that you got to spend by yourself?
I dove into the Reiki stuff. So I had done that previously, but it is like a way of life for me now. So making time for that, I will do more energy healing, spiritual stuff. Like I was always like on the fence, like a little bit of a hippie, you know what I mean? And now I'm like, oh yeah, this is
You're like, my bare feet are in the dirt and nobody is getting me out of here. Nobody. Yeah.
That for sure. Definitely. I love reading, never have time for reading, but just making time. And just for me being like out in the woods in nature, that's another thing. To me, it's like I would do it maybe once a week if I was lucky.
Right.
Usually, a couple times a month. But like if you think about, 7 days during the week, you're not even getting out there once. Mm-hmm. So unbalanced.
Mm-hmm.
So fucked up.
I think most people, that's where it comes to the time thing. And I always ask people with this, because I'm an entrepreneur and I know that there's a lot of things that are really scary about that. You also are. But one of the things, it was a book I listened to a little while ago, or I believe it's called Unscripted. And one of the things I'll never do is trade 5 for 2. Yeah. And it's kind of the same way, like you're trading 5 days of your life to kind of grind and do these things for 2 days that we're looking forward to, or we're trading 60 years for our retirement, or we're doing those things.
Yeah.
And so you do start to realize the importance of that time. And now you know things that you'll hold on to. Like those are pieces you're not going to let go of. And if you do, I'll just, give you a little kick and be like, dude, like you don't get, because we do tend to get caught up in it again, because it does work its way back in. So I love that you see that. Where do you see this changing in your relationship with your daughter as well? Like what happens with the two of you? Because you guys got to spend a lot of time together.
Oh, yeah, we had the best time. I realized actually, so she just turned 5 in May. This is completely normal and natural for her to be spending like all the time with me, having all of this free time. She became so creative. It was the most magical time. And so, I worked 4 days a week before, and that seemed like little compared to other people. But now I will never judge myself according to other people and their schedule. For me, it's, this seems normal for Perry. So like 2 or 3 days max sort of thing. Or I will, book my schedule around her school and stuff like that. Also the way things are set up for kindergarten, the public school system, they go 5 days a week. I have her at Mulberry, they go 4. And I would let her skip school quite often. She's 4, and I will it solidified those things for me. I will continue to do that because she loves it. She was thriving.
Yeah.
And kids get exhausted.
To have real life with you, which I think is so much better. One of the really interesting things, I had this conversation with a group of friends the other day, is that we're in COVID and we've been living in it and we've been surviving. We've been doing all the things that we're doing in this moment. But I actually don't even know if any of us who are living through it will understand the impact that this has on our life until we're reading about it in a history book, or they're teaching it to your daughter in high school, you know, what happened in 2020, and then she's going to say, like, Mom, what were we doing? And you get to sit down and talk about that's where your pivots happened, and that's where this stuff is happening. And I don't know if actually until we have time that we're away from it, where we'll be able to go back and reflect on what it is. But it is really interesting when we think about what are some other things that you've put in place for your mental health, and then what do you think you might have to possibly put into place for your mental health going back to work?
Yeah, good question. So you can't live without you. I see another woman for Reiki, and she does cellular transformation and all of that. So those, I have actually booked like weekly sessions because it was, I was starting to feel really anxious and like really excited to go back to work and connect with my clients and stuff. But I was like, what is this? Like, it felt scary. I felt like I would lose all of the things that I learned in this time if I went back to like rat race of, I also don't have childcare right now. Right. And it's easy to get swept back in. So, in order, like what made me feel most comfortable was having, you know, sessions booked with you, having sessions booked with Sarah Knight, this woman I see, carving out that time, writing it in my schedule cannot be erased. Like that is the priority. So just really reminding myself that that comes first, and then everything has to work around that, and like not letting that go, because it's a scary thing thinking about you can just go back, get caught back up in it, and all of these lessons or all of the things that I learned and loved could be gone so quickly.
So you have to keep it, you have to recognize that it's a practice, and we've only had such a small piece of time with it, right? Like 3 months in the grand scheme of our life, or our patterns and the things that we were doing before isn't that much time. So we need to kind of keep working at
I think too, it's really, I've always spent money on things I find important, but now even more so, like if I had to choose between, I don't know, I would give up a lot of other things to make sure like Reiki, yoga sessions with you, things like that are like the most important thing. And so putting money on those things, like a lot of people, I think I've done that before. Like I can't afford to work out, or I can't, like, no, none of that.
It definitely heightens what that is. Going back to work, here's the thing. I'm not back in a physical space yet. I'm still doing a lot of stuff through Zoom. I'm just starting to maybe see a couple of coaching clients one-on-one. What have you upped your mental health game? Because now all of a sudden you're back in a place where we still don't have a vaccine. We still don't have antibodies to this thing that we shut down for. Have you kind of calmed down on that front? Or how do you feel about that? How has that affected you?
I don't feel stressed about COVID, obviously, like oddly enough. Our cleaning practices are like intense at work, like between every client you're cleaning things, so that I feel very safe in that respect. And then I feel like my circle will still be pretty small, and that was another thing, just making time for the people that really matter, that are really close. And so I will just continue like that, so I'm not worried about COVID. That could change in a couple of months once everybody.
I think that's a great answer, especially like I'm still cautious and kind of moving into it slowly, but it's people like you and other people who are out kind of living the day to day that also show me like there is nothing really to be super worried about right now. And I think for our own mental health, getting back to some sort of regular routine in life is also going to be really important.
I think we've been extremely lucky in Kingston as well, because numbers have been so low. So if I knew that there were a bunch of active cases out around the community, I would probably feel a little bit differently. The other thing is my daughter still isn't in school, and so that, like, I would be worried about her getting sick, something like that, but that's not a worry yet, and who knows what will happen with school. So on that front, luckily, I do feel bad for people that are still very nervous about that, because that would be a whole nother anxiety level.
Are you prepared to like maybe be a stay-at-home mom teacher again going into the fall?
100%.
That thought crossed your mind, because as someone like I'm going back to school for my second year, and they've already established that we're doing it online.
Yeah.
You know, even if things I think get better, I'm spending my last semester of school online, which means I won't get to see my classmates until probably we graduate, a lot of them, which is crazy. And I'm wondering if parents have started thinking about this.
Yeah, I was chatting with a teacher the other day who had said, you know, we've had all these staff meetings. They've asked us what we need for online staff. They're not saying anything or announcing anything, but school won't be back the way it was before. And I feel so lucky for so many little reasons, but Perry's in kindergarten. It just doesn't matter, you know, and so I'm fully prepared to work a lot less. That's another thing, you know, I have like a rack of the most beautiful fancy coats that I love. I don't need to buy another coat, like, I just feel like it's changed like shopping habits, all of those things. Just to live a much slower life. And so I'm already in my mind, I think, you know, if I'd like some socialization for her, so I will figure that out. But school's not even in my mind right now.
I love that. I love it.
Like an extended vacation in life or something. But like you said, for Perry, this has been like a vacation to her. She doesn't really know a whole lot of anything. And so I hope that this is sort of the pivot in her life, but that almost she doesn't even realize it till much later, that this just starts being the way we live, you know?
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes to you, because there are, and I'm not saying there's really one way or another to do it. I'm also not a parent, but I think it's valid how everybody's been moving through this, and some parents and some people just in general, whether they have kids or not, have been dealing with this in a much more negative way with a different vibration. And you've actually just handled it as beautifully as you state, and it's as calm as your energy. And I know you've kind of had the ups and downs through that, but you really have kind of given her the experience because it was the experience you were having. And so it speaks volumes to kind of how you processed it. And that's really beautiful.
I think too, I have one child, and maybe that makes it much different, but it's been really nice to spend like real quality time with her. Before COVID happened, like right before, I took Perry for the first time by myself to Havana, and I was scared shitless before. I have no idea why. It was like my first like outing as a single mom doing like something wild and crazy. And that was the best thing I ever did. I felt so confident after that I think that set me up for this. Yeah. Because otherwise we've never been stuck at home with our kids for this long. Yeah. Right? Like she just got into school. Maybe it would be different if you were at home with two kids, a little bit more hectic, that sort of thing. But I notice a lot of parents saying like, I just like, what the fuck do you do with your kids? But because I had gone to Havana, I don't know, it just seemed like another vacation. It was really weird. I keep looking back to that like, oh, I'm so happy I did that, even though I was so scared.
Yeah. And I think that's, you know, that was just kind of the beginning of you continuing to jump out of the nest with things in your life. Yes. And show yourself that even though something can scare you so much, the reward to what's on the other side of that is also really cool.
Yes.
I do like how you mentioned that most parents, like, you don't spend this much time with your children unless you're a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home parent or dad or whatever that is. And I think now maybe they don't realize how important school is, or those little breaks that they get, or those activities that they do. I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but I like commend everybody who is.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
People will never undermine teachers again.
yeah, at all. Especially, you know, like a parents who are just like barely getting by doing everything that they need. I know. Jade, it was so, I always love chatting with you.
Me too.
So if people want to find you, first off, are you offering Reiki in any capacity where people can find you? And if you are, where can they find you? And then tell us where they can find, although the loft is like booking into 2022.
Yes.
Right? Tell us that as well.
So the Loft Kingston, and we're all over social media, Facebook, we have a website, on Instagram, that sort of thing. As of right now, I am not offering Reiki, but I will. That is my goal for the next month, actually. I have done some distance stuff and done lots of, you know, practicing, and I just finished my mentorship 2 days ago, actually, which was amazing. So I wanted to give myself all the space to really dive into that. Mm-hmm. But I realized over the weekend, I'm so excited to start offering. So I can do distance sessions, which I like, but I'm such an in-person kind of person that I can already envision like a little space or something. And so I think I'll wait a little bit until that's allowed.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you're starting something new as well, it's important to have that in-person kind of, you know.
I think that's great. Well, I'm really excited. I'll go for some distance Reiki. I mean, if you just want to,
Yes.
practice some things up to that. But let's kind of keep in touch on that, and maybe next time we won't have to do it over screens, and we can do more of a chat in person. You'll tell us where they can find.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I just appreciate it. I love you so much, and thank you for everything you're doing to beautify all of us as we come out of our caves.
Yes, you're next. Okay, have a good day.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. That was Jade, so one of the owners of the Loft Kingston. Beautiful, beautiful, just inspirational human being, mom, all of those things. So always a pleasure to talk with her and what she's doing. So stay tuned for all of the fun things coming up later that we can share with you. And Jade's Reiki and the ways that she's offering it. Okay, I hope everybody has a great day.